Hi, Ira. So we're going to start your painting today. You can see I finished my drawing and I traced it. I want you to look closely when you're tracing yours and look for lines that the artist made double thick. Study those because it'll help your cartoon characters come out really cool. So I want to apologize ahead of time that some of the color did not show up well on the video because my light was too bright, but I know you'll get the point. So I'm going to teach you how to start a painting with a wet into wet technique. So that means that we're going to have water and white paint on the whole canvas before we start adding in colors. But before we can do that, we have to have our colors ready to go. The reason is this process is all about speed. You can't stop for anything, otherwise it won't work. So no interruptions. Because what's going to happen is you only have the time until the paint dries, the water and white paint. When that dries, the technique is done. And what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to blend really easily and get a lot of paint on really, really fast. This will help with the face and the hair because there's a lot going on and you're going to want to blend it. And blending in acrylic can be tricky. And this is one of the ways to blend easily. So right now I just put on the water and then I'm going to add the white now. So I'm using a large brush. I recommend that because that will help you cover the canvas fast enough. You know, if you had like a huge brush, you could cover the canvas in like 2 swipes. So I'm just making sure it's even. And now I'm going to go and start using the colors I already got ready. So I'm going to add the yellow into the hair. And you're going to really, really like how this feels. It's going to be very slippery. And you can even change pressure on your brush and get lighter or darker yellow. But you'll realize that you can get a lot of coverage really fast because the canvas is not absorbing your color. So now I'm adding the skin color. It's going to barely show up, so you're just going to have to trust me that it's there. Look at the color that's on the palette that I used. It's lighter than all the shadows that she has on her face. It's right in the middle, so that's why I started with that. I'm adding it to the arms and legs, but as I was doing this, I'm like, this is probably a little bit too much for Ira. You should maybe wait and do the arms and legs later, just because they're not as important and we have a face to still work on, right? And you may not be able to go as fast as me yet. So I don't want you to waste time doing things that aren't crucial right now. So I'm adding in some warmth into the cheeks and darkening some shadows. And I know it doesn't show up really well, but it's there. So now I'm adding more pink to the cheeks. Okay, I'm adding a light brown to the darkest parts of the hair. Now this is obviously washed out from the light, but it is not as dark as what is in the picture. That's going to come later. Right now we just want to get all our colors laid in as quick as possible and as blended as possible so that we have a good base to work from. You'll find a lot of the base could just be done, you know, at the end of this. And again, we only have a limited working time or an open time. That refers to how long the paint is workable. Because once it starts to get tacky, you have to stop. And what I mean by tacky is it'll get a little sticky. And if you go in with paint that is wetter than the paint on the canvas, sometimes it will peel. If that happens to you, just stop and we'll move on. You could always start this process over with plain water as well. So if you did run out of time and things dried up on you, go ahead and just re-wet the canvas and go back in. So I keep layering darker and darker. I'm just using the colors that I mixed up. And you can find as many colors as you want in her hair and her skin right now. So you can see that I'm sort of blending with my finger. I'm a big fan of this. So you just kind of go tap, 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 and you're blotting it to blend. Some of the blending that I did with two brushes, and so that's one technique that you can do is you can have one brush with the color that you're using, and then a clean, dryish brush for the blending. So you actually go back and forth between both of them. Sometimes that makes blending easier. You can also just clean your brush off with a paper towel and blend with the same brush. And why does any of that matter? Because you can't blend with a brush that has a whole bunch of paint on it, right? That would only make things bigger. So I'm doing the lips. Notice that I am focusing on the edge first with my detail brush. So there are these nice highlights on her bottom lip, and right now I'm debating whether I should just leave it the white of the canvas, but I decide against it. It's too soon to worry about it, and I'm just going to add a little bit of pink in place of it, and then I'm going to add a little bit of darker red. But it's not everything that's going to happen to this mouth. It's just a good base. And so what do I mean by a good base? You want your first layer to make all your other layers easier. So if our first layer is already blended, it already has layers, and it's light enough that we can make some color mistakes, and it's not a big deal. So we can try out different colors now, and then after this dries, we can glaze in with transparent layers to change the colors and darken them, and then we can put thick highlights on our lightest areas. And you want the start of your painting to go fast, even if you're not working in acrylic, even if you're doing coloring, you want to lay in as much as you can of the easy stuff before you worry about the hard stuff. If you have a good start, then the hard stuff is easier later, and the whole time that you have to work on the painting is shortened. A lot of times students will repaint the same areas over and over, and a good start kind of stops that from happening a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna make some gray right now so I can get the mic stand and the guitar. I sort of stopped on the face because it was drying on me, so I'm moving on. This on your own, but I would really like to help you finish it next class. That way I can show you how to do some very, very awesome glazing to get beautiful colors in her hair. I'm just going to finish this mic stand and the guitar, and then I'm going to add white to make my floodlights. So before I can add the white again, Like I'm going to reapply white like we did in the beginning. I'm going to make the color, and then I'm going to put white, like a wet white, where I'm going to add the color on the canvas. Then I'm going to lay the pink into that, and it's going to slide around just like before, and it'll give me enough time to blend all of them. Some of them you're going to want to blend more than others. Another perk is it gives you time to just completely blend it away if you don't like it. So I know that this technique might be challenging, and you probably cannot mix your colors as fast as I can. Um, so if you have any questions about how to mix your colors, because color mixing can slow you down a lot, uh, go ahead and email me or text me, and I will give you some recipes for any colors you can't figure out, or I'll just do another demo like this for you. Feel free to finish her dress by yourself though. And you can even redesign her dress. You can redesign the background. I think it's awesome when you put your own spin on things. Maybe you should put yourself at the concert. Just kidding, because you would only see the top of your head and that wouldn't be very fun. All right, I will see you in class next week. I hope this works for you and that you like it. All right, bye.